The big story tonight, Kamala Harris has a new gaffe to add to the reel, and this time she seems to single-handedly undo her boss's Bidenomics push. You know, Biden's agenda where he claims he's bringing the economy back from ruins.
Folks, that's Bidenomics. It's about growing the economy and strengthening the middle class, making things in America again. Bidenomics, 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 Bidenomics.
Well, Harris admits, probably by mistake, that people are actually struggling.
Most Americans are a $400 unexpected expense away from bankruptcy.
Oh, no wonder she has record low favorability in the polls. But don't worry, Kamala, the media says you're a better VP than you even think.
I do consider myself a joyful warrior.
Yes, you do. She is a joyful warrior.
Because I thought we were supposed to conserve things. I couldn't reconcile it. Now I can.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context.
Oh, boy, that never gets old. But, Tammy, the joyful warrior there, I want to put into context for the American people here what she was referring to when she said the American people are maybe $400 away from bankruptcy. Not only did she undermine Bidenomics, but what she's discussing here is that American women can't afford to travel to other states to get abortions if their state outlaws or bans abortion. So let's unpack that there, what that actually means in the real world and in Kamala's mind.
Well, first of all, just think about that clip. One heartbeat away. One heartbeat away from running the world. So we're kind of screwed in that regard. So is the rest of the world. That is a worry. That is not a serious person, despite everything that we've been shown and the position she holds. And we have to keep that in mind. And look, part of being a good citizen and a patriot is recognizing you might not like people who are serious, but there are serious people and unserious people. But that statement, it kind of reveals the entire scheme from the Democrats. They create an economy where no one can really go and have any kind of extra money or discretionary spending. People do go now more from paycheck to paycheck, that maybe you can't get another credit card and the cards are all maxed out. That is a Democrat policy base. That is the Democrat agenda, to where you can't go somewhere to go to a rally. You can't give money to your favorite candidate. You can't go traveling to not burn out, where you think you can make your life work without the government's help. They create that, and then they put themselves up as the hero for the woman who has to feel she has to get an abortion because she thinks about, can I do this? And she doesn't have the money. She's already working 2 jobs. And most abortions happen because it becomes an economic issue. And then it's the Democrats are your champions. We'll give you the money to go get that abortion because everything is so bad and you can't afford it and you can't live your life with a child. But trust us, we'll get you. So we become, of course, victims of this entire process. And how dare she is the first woman in that position, and how dare everyone who facilitates this, because women's lives, the lives of people of color on the margins, are destroyed first.
I think it's interesting also that I don't think that she purposefully undermined her boss when she made that comment.
Right.
I'm not sure.
It was an
Maybe
accident.
she did. I mean, she has a history of undermining Joe Biden, as we know from the early debate stage. But I think, again, it's that she has these slips because she's not prepared for the job. But, Jason, I want to ask you about this because, as Tammy mentioned at the outset here, everybody is wishing Joe Biden health and wellness because we're very concerned that that could potentially be our president, and he's running again. So I think Democrats, we know from polls, only 13% of Democrats want Kamala at the top of that ticket. So I think the Democrats have really backed themselves into a corner here. Can they get out of it, or they have no choice but to run Joe or Kamala?
Democrats are locked in on this. Now, I harken back to when they were first running together as a team. She was in something like 8th place when she had to drop out of the race. And because Democrats got to know her, 8th place in California, her home state. And she's had the job. She's gone through, I don't know how many dozens of staff in a very small office, by the way. She's had this turnover of staff who just can't stand working with her. She comes to the game not prepared. And then she's given big things like the border. What has she done there? She's the border czar. Is the border working for you? Now they're going to put her in front of artificial intelligence? Like she has any clue how that works?
It's a fancy thing and it's 2 letters. But Griff,
I'm not sure she knows how to spell it. That's the
just
problem.
2 letters, man. Great point.
But Griff, I want to go to you on this because the media, again, is really trying to paint a rosy picture here. Politico now trying to paint this picture that she's actually much better at her job than we see. And so we got the quote there. It's a lot to do at once, they say. Harris is an important party liaison. The writer goes on to say vice presidents have become much more integrated into the executive branch. Harris fits into this model pretty clearly. She's been given important and difficult issues to address. Harris has to navigate all of this terrain, all while operating an office with an ever-evolving job description. So that was some mental gymnastics that I've ever seen it.
Maybe Kamala wrote that.
Is it going to work, though?
It's actually the most fascinating read all day because as you know, Jason pointed out here, the litany of multiple failures that would have derailed a vice presidency for just one. There's a whole litany. But I was like, let's see what's in there. And in the very beginning, to the writer's credit, as you pointed out, only 13% of Democrats want her to run again. That's like saying if the relief pitcher of the Yankees only had 13% of the fan base, they wouldn't be back. But yet here she is. And she did break ceilings, to be fair to her, the first woman vice president, first black, first Asian descent. But then you get to the very last sentence, which says, in the final analysis, her political difficulties and their causes are nebulous and hard to pin down. And I thought maybe they should talk to Jason Chaffetz because it's not nebulous, which is defined as hazy, unclear, and it's not hard to pin it down.
Well, I wonder what she thinks her actual accomplishment has been so far. I can't name a single thing that she can look in the camera and say, hey, this is what I accomplished as Vice President of the United States.
Well, we have a special supercut of what she hasn't accomplished, but gave us all a laugh. Let's take a look at Kamala Harris at her finest.
AI is kind of a fancy thing. First of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence.
For us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present.
So during Women's History Month, we celebrate and we honor the women who made history throughout history, who saw what could be unburdened by what had been. I asked my team actually to do I love Venn diagrams. Let me just tell you, I really just love Venn diagrams. So I asked them to do a Venn diagram for me. Who doesn't love a yellow school bus, right? Can you raise your hand if you love a yellow school bus, right?
I think Americans might love yellow school buses more than they love the current vice president. But Tammy, I want to go to you on this. You know, you and I are both women here, and she, whether you like her or not, she is a trailblazer in that first female vice president. What do you think she can do, if anything, to correct this, to right the ship, if you will? Is there anything she could do at this point to get back on track, to get those numbers up, give us some confidence in her abilities?
The problem is if she was able to do that, it would mean a complete shift in personality and capabilities, which means then she would have been lying to us all this time. So she can't win. She can't win either way. But trailblazing, I have to say, is not when somebody puts you into a slot because it fits a bill, because it checks a box. Trailblazers, really, it's women who make decisions, who make achievements, who deliver on those achievements, who are able to make a difference, and where you can be proud and where look at Margaret Thatcher. Fought her way up through a party, got elected on her own, delivered, knew what to do, was a good leader. That's trailblazing, not fitting into a box from bean counters who want you to look at someone. So I think considering, look, this is so awful. You want the person who does break a ceiling to really do a good job. We have to argue that Barack Obama, with all the things that we did not like what he did, he made a difference in a number of different ways. He got his big, Obamacare thing passed. He knew what he was doing. In this case, she doesn't even do that.
And I think that there might be an element of this, too, of maybe Joe himself wanting to hold Kamala back in some way, shape, or form. But Joe is not so shiny himself when he's not gaffing or forgetting where he is or God saving the Queen. He's actually lying about the current state of the economy under Bidenomics. Let's take a listen to Joe here.
We learned the economy grew faster than expected last quarter. And this morning we saw data showing that last month the annual rate of inflation continued to decline. So inflation is now at its lowest point in 2 years. And wages are up after being adjusted for inflation.
And fact check, real average hourly earnings only recently turned positive after 25 straight months in the red. Real wages are actually down by 3% since Biden took office. But Jason, what frustrates me when they try to tout the economy is that we had essentially 2 years of economic lockdown, and then things are getting better now that people are spending money and going places and they're unmasked, right? And they can eat indoors again. Then they tout that as like they created that. So as Tammy said earlier, they create a problem and then they think that they've solved a problem by opening things back up. But real wages actually not up. Are you convinced Bidenomics is working?
I love the comparison over the last 2 years. I mean, he's been in office more than 2 years, so it's at its lowest level in 2 years. I would love for them to actually articulate what the core pieces of Bidenomics would be, because it's at this point massive government spending, no attention to energy independence. Look at the price of what you're going to pay this weekend. Right now, you're out driving your car, and you're trying to fill up your car with gasoline. It's expensive. It's really expensive. That's on purpose. They purposely did that. That was not an accident.
I thought of an accomplishment. I knew one. I'd forgotten it, and then I remembered it. She's broken more tiebreakers in the Senate, 31 in just 2.5 years, than any vice president ever. It was recently held by Vice President Calhoun in 1825. Now she's got it, and you got another 1.5 years for more tiebreakers.
Well, we're so happy to hear that you found that. You know, even a blind squirrel finds a nut, so there is hope for Kamala yet.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.